Remix. 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 Remix.
Oh, yeah. Welcome out. This is the Remix Morning Show. Right here on Black Liberation Media. In case you didn't know, I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Came here to bring you that boom bap breakfast. But not just me, I'm talking about us. And who is us that's getting on this bus? We talking about Jackie Lukman and Erica Kane.
Yes.
Dance with me.
No, that is people's choice. Do it any way you wanna. Do it any way you wanna. Do it any way you wanna.
Is that another sample that I didn't catch
Yeah.
until now?
That's a hip hop sample too. They use that. That's Jungle Brothers. They use that one.
That's why I'm like, that's like 3 different songs are running through my head. Which one is it?
Look at you, musical genius in the morning. Y'all look beautiful today. How y'all doing? Radiant,
Hey.
glowing, all that.
Oh.
Yes. I mean, you know,
Like
don't
I
get
said,
it.
Lost for words, Jackie. He's at lost for words.
Yeah.
You're right.
Literally.
I was about to pull out my dictionary and
That's
ask Web for
okay.
some things. But
Well, I stopped myself. That's all right. We appreciate the effort.
That's received.
yeah, no doubt. Especially on this snow day. I believe y'all are stuck in the house. So
Yeah, I am. I am stuck in the house. This is day 2 of virtual school. Yesterday we had a snow day without snow. So now they're like, well, okay, so it's legitimately snowing, stay home. Yeah, I thought they could have done a 2-hour delay. It's funny because Zion's teacher, all the kids, he asked, good morning, does anyone have any questions? And they were all like, why are we home? Why are we in school? Like, they didn't understand it. He's like, wow, the county school board thought it'd be necessary, although some people think that we could have had half a day. I'm like, that's how the teacher's like, some people, me. But I agree. Children should be at school all the time.
Oh, man. Yo, and then when you think about it, when they do stay home, you start thinking about that. How much these teachers get paid? They are like psychologists. They are like babysitters. They are teachers. They do a lot, and they get very much underpaid. So big up to all the teachers out there. Got to give it up to you. My mom and pops was a teacher and administrators at school.
I used to be a teacher, early childhood education.
Word? What grade?
Pre-K, kindergarten. I did that for 7 years.
Whew.
Nice.
What level would you say you like teaching, or you just did that level?
I just did that level. I only did early childhood education. I'm certified. I don't have a degree. But yeah, I think I liked it. But I think in Maryland, where there are no unions or no unionization for early childhood education teachers, like when you talk about what teachers make, typically early childhood education is in daycares or they're part of a curriculum in school. So it's like a half day. Like in Maryland, they do kindergarten half days and things like that. You don't get paid what teachers get paid in the state who are not even unionized, right? And in most instances, if you're working for a daycare, the most that you can cap, I think it might be a little bit more, but I think it was $15 to $18 an hour, where the uncertified teachers who are just like the assistants are at minimum wage at $8 an hour. And
$8 an hour?
Yeah. Yes. $8, $8.50.
Stop playing.
No, I'm dead serious. And that's here, the daycare system here in Maryland. And they cannot unionize around it.
And this is how much we pay people that watch our kids all day?
Yes.
Yes.
That's why people see, because a lot of these daycares are private institutions. So everybody wants to be a daycare owner, honey. But, the amount of money daycares take in and the amount that they actually pay staff significantly different in terms of the overhead costs and all of that.
Damn. Oof.
Mhm.
Man, my kids went to my homeboy had a daycare, and he it was good because you don't usually have brothers.
We're rolling in it.
No, it. I would just say this: he was a great teacher. He taught them healthy foods. He took them farming. He did all that stuff. He's one of them brothers, and it was real good. Like I could see why make sure we paid them right. But damn, $8. Ugh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, what about you, Jackie? How you feeling? How was your weekend?
I'm feeling pretty good. I got some more snow, so get to go outside today and see if Kamathi will roll around in the snow. He's not going to. He's not. He doesn't.
No, doesn't do
He's
that.
he's not like Brewski. He does not. He is not impressed with snow. I want him to be. He's just not. But
He's a
But hey, it was a
Negro.
busy weekend with meetings and getting ready for this new transition. I'm
And what is
still
that?
kind of
Inform to those who don't know what this new transition is.
so the leadership of BAP is changing. So you are seeing on the screen one of the three new co-coordinators of Black Alliance for Peace, and it's not me. It's Erica Keynes down there. She is one.
What?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't want to let you I don't never know what to do. I just
It's like, stop clapping.
come on now. I'm shy.
So Erica will be co-coordinator, the national co-coordinator, one of three for the Black Alliance for Peace. The other two will be Austin Cole and Tunde Osazoa. And at the end of the month, I will step out of my position as vice chair of the coordinating committee, and I will step into my new position as chair of the coordinating committee for that. And Jaribu Hill, phenomenal organizer, woman, and comrade, will step into the role of vice chair. So I am so tired because I have been reading notes and writing stuff and doing my show video and the backup videos and trying to get this life schedule kind of in some kind of order so I can accomplish all of these things that I still have to do. So yeah, I'm tired. I'm very tired.
Big up to you. Let me find out y'all out here playing revolutionary musical chairs. I see y'all out here. Nice. All right. Well, that's what it is. I guess I don't know if Kamal's coming because y'all bum rushed me this morning early. Y'all need to speak to a higher up. I was gonna put him under fire.
Those kids probably took over their computer. They're like,
Yeah, so I gotta bounce.
It's cool. It's cool all day down here.
oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Y'all don't have snow down there.
No,
I keep
no.
forgetting y'all are in Atlanta and y'all.
Yeah.
No, I never forget.
Yeah, nah, it's cold though. It's high of 50.
Define cold.
High of 50.
Define high what?
A 50.
Good grief. So what's that?
mean,
Sweatshirt weather? What is that?
Yeah, hoodies all day. Yes, you're right about that. I mean, that's why we moved to the south. It's nothing like this weather. We don't worry about blizzards. We don't worry about earthquakes,
Just refreshing.
hurricanes.
Yep.
Just what?
Yeah, just
Good
Yes.
weather refreshing.
just continuing James Crow 13.0.
That's true.
Irrigation and sunshine.
Hey, we love it. The city's blacker than black. I mean, how DC used to be, I heard.
Mm.
Mm.
No.
Saying. That may be more like
DC's
B more.
reputation for bouginess is not as old as Atlanta's reputation for bougie.
Oh,
So
but
what
it is
about-
unmatched. Nobody do bougie like the DMV. It is unmatched.
Oh yeah.
That's true
Yeah,
now.
let's not get that twisted. The unbougie, I guess you would go to Baltimore. Is it Baltimore still black?
Wow.
That's,
They're actually the worst. They're actually the worst culprits of the bouginess.
Baltimore?
Yes.
Get out of here.
Oh,
it's
the girls don't
few
play
of
down here, honey.
them.
The girls do
Really?
not play.
Hmm. I dated a female from Baltimore. She was
A who?
A what?
A female what?
from
Uh-huh.
Baltimore.
From a what?
She's a what?
Damn, what do you call women now?
What
don't
was
call
What's
it-
called
the word that you just used?
woman?
What was that? What was
You lady, like
Now I do not understand. What's the problem with the
going
word?
on?
What is the problem with the word female? I don't get it.
Right.
Is because what? Please tell me. For all those who don't know, so we can stop saying female. What's the problem with the word female?
I mean, why? Because
what's the problem with the word woman? You
it
just said
sounds like you're describing an inanimate or a non-human entity, like you're describing the female of a species and I get that that Homo sapien, I get, but we have names, and women is great. Women is really fantastic. Women is a word that is, you don't have to call us anything other than women. There's really no need for another name for us.
I'm massaging my brain. I'm trying to get this in here. Okay.
I just feel like the trend of calling women females came from these black incels who always
It's
complaining.
hip hop too. It's a bunch of things. Fly females in the buildings. Make some noise.
Just because they used a word to rhyme, it doesn't mean you have to run over. Come on.
Yeah, it's also a descriptive. Like, it's not like it's a female what. That's why I asked you. So it's not like it is the word or how you would just.
Oh, okay. See, now I can get
Yeah.
that. I can get that. I can understand that. A female.
Well, lean on the nouns.
So big up to all my
Yeah.
female women.
To my female women.
Lord have mercy.
To my female women. All right, good.
Okay, all right.
Sure.
It's no other type, right?
Really,
Why not?
Big up to my female humans. I just
Yeah.
leave female alone. Okay.
okay. Yeah.
She said, "All right, I'm not doing this today."
Got me
Uh,
giving up already. Jesus.
all right. Big up to all my Anyway, dated a
Shout
woman
out
from
to
Baltimore. She
the
couldn't dress
mailman.
it. The mailman. Big up to the mailman.
The mailmen and the female women. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all.
Oh snap! Y'all got that one off on me right there. I can't even front. All right, so guess it's time to get into some news. We better get into it before Miss Erica Keynes has to leave. She'll be
Yeah.
staying with us till 8:59. So
Mhm.
let's go ahead and do that.
8:55. My child has to be on time, and so we don't play that.
Me too. I like that. I like that.
Okay.
Time. The white man's construct. Get all that. All right, here we go. Let's take a quick break right here on the Remix Morning Show. Another sample right there. That's EPMD, but it's originally from a group. Oh, let me slow down. Let me relax a little bit. All right, so take that out real quick. Big up and thank y'all for tuning in the Remix Morning Show. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com, become a member over there, get footage that's rare, and also what you can do is you can donate. How do you do that? You go to our website, which is blkliberationmedia.org. And that way we can pay these hosts that come and bring this great news to you every day. All right, with that said, let me tell you about this group that I was just rocking to. It's BT Express. So, now that I got my vinyls out and everything, BT Express, they had this album called Do It. Do It Till You're Satisfied. Now, the beautiful thing about these albums is you had covers and you had notes and everything, and it was like a whole big booklet. It was something great that you can just experience when you got it at home. So with that said, let me tell you a little bit about this album right here. Oh. All right, BT Express. Where shall I start? Well, let's start with this song called Doing It. Doing it till you're satisfied. All right, Doing It till you're satisfied. Let me put y'all on real quick. This came out in 1974. That's right, 1974. Oh my goodness, what a year. A year before I was born. All right, now this came off the album, which was actually their first debut album, which was called Do It. It was also a crossover song for them. It was a funk group, and it was written by Billy Nichols. So go check that out. And this right here was looked at as a sexual song, talking about do it. And then in the back you would hear them say, I'm satisfied. So it was a very sexual song at the time, but it was a crossover funk hit that was big. So big up to BT Express. Do it till you're satisfied. Now let's get back to the Remix Morning Crew so they can satisfy you. Oh, holla. Whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
Thank you, man. I try to give you all the funk, baby.
Good stuff. Mailman.
Mailman. Yeah, that's it.
Or
guy.
Gentleman.
Oh, and speaking of Gentleman, that was one of the songs Fela I played yesterday. Gentleman. It was like, don't be a gentleman. That's what they want you to be. All right. Anyway, let me get out of here. Peace.
Huh? Is it me or was that?
I try not to engage.
Okay. Yeah, it's too early. It's really too early. Yeah. So news.
Yeah. I guess we do the intro.
Yes, I guess we can.
Hey!
Peace.
Well.
How y'all doing? Can y'all hear me well?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Mm-hmm. Kamal, male, man.
Get him.
Kamal, dude.
True that. True. I think I heard y'all talking about the males and the females.
No, you
I
didn't.
feel like, it was a part of the old school way of saying, I'm saying, yo, I'm dating this female, these females, That's just the old school way. We don't do that no more, though. We don't do that no more.
Never, I do not even believe one time in your life, one moment, have you talked like that.
Probably not, but
Exactly.
No. There might have been a couple of times, when I wanted to impress. You know what I'm saying? So, yo, what's up, man? Yo, what's up?
When you was taking them pictures outside the projects.
Exactly.
Right. Everybody on the lean.
I can pull some of those up.
He was outside.
Oh,
I was
boy.
outside a lot, son.
Mm.
How else could I get to school? To the subway and all that.
A mess.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning. Welcome to the Remix Morning Show. You're here with your special guests, Jackie Lukman, Erica Kane, Kamal K. Franklin. In the background, the producer, the ear doctor. It is a Wednesday morning. We have over 259 viewers already. And y'all ready to get into some news?
Let's.
Just
Erica,
want to know, there's an S there. Canes. Kane is
What
that
did I say? Kane? I always say Kane.
that white woman are all my children.
Erica Kane. Canes. Erica Kane.
Get
Okay,
out-
I'm
get out
bad.
the
I'm getting used to it. I
right.
got you.
Okay.
I won't get the name right.
Get her
Erica Kane.
European name right.
Oh, let's
Thank you, ear doctor. Thank
not
you.
the
Exactly.
ear doctor telling somebody that they
Thank you,
got
ear doc.
ear
Thank
there.
you, sir.
Oh boy. Anyway,
Who got to start? I got. You got.
Start
Who
it
got?
up.
All
I
right.
have no stories. Just
Oh,
comments.
I mean, I got the most. It's more like so. Yesterday, as some folks may know, the King of Jordan went for a visit to see Trump. And part of this visit was supposedly to talk about what next for Gaza. Obviously, Jordan is attempting to get its aid restored from the United States. The Jordan king, a known puppet of U.S. imperialism. And there was a big question going into it for those who are watching is how would the king react, the crown royal king react to Trump potentially saying something foolish? Would he stand up for Palestine? Would he stand up for Jordan? Would he speak truth to power? And this is what happened when Trump went on his diatribe.
You said before that the U.S. would buy Gaza, and today you just said we're not going to buy Gaza.
We're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. We will have Gaza.
What is that?
No reason to buy. There is nothing to buy. It's Gaza. It's
Gaza.
A war-torn area. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it. And to get it eventually where a lot of jobs are going to be created for the people in the Middle East. It's going to be for the people in the Middle East, but I think it could be a diamond. It could be an absolute tremendous asset for the Middle East. And you're going to have peace. It's going to bring peace in the Middle East. Gaza, the way it is right now, every 10 years, you're going to have the same thing happening. I've watched it so long, all the death and destruction of Gaza. The civilization's been wiped out in Gaza. No, it's going to be a tremendous thing. It's
And if you think that, how
it's
did that
fronting on
happen?
the sea. It's going to be a great economic development job. It's going to put people to work, a lot of people to work. And those people are all going to be from the Middle East.
And just to follow up with one on that for King Abdullah, can you clarify again, sir?
Look at him
How do you
blinking.
feel about the U.S. taking Gaza, as the president said?
Well, again, this is something that we as Arabs will be coming to the United States with something that we're going to talk about later to discuss all these options.
And Mr. President, take it under what authority? It is sovereign
Under
territory.
the U.S. authority.
And Mr. President, would you seek to personally develop property in Gaza after this
No.
happens?
No, I've had a great career in real estate.
I do want to play the whole thing.
I
That's
don't-
too good.
You know, when you've done what I've done in the last number of years, including the 4 years that we should have been doing something else, frankly, because people see that now for sure. But when you've done what I've done, you can just do more good for people when you're president. When you're president, we can do things. This is
You can
all
fire
things
federal
that should have
workers.
been done, but actually things that shouldn't have had to be done. Gaza, absolutely, it would have been so great if the Biden administration would have started this. But actually, in all fairness
I
to
think they
them,
did.
it was. They should have never let it happen. It did happen. And because of the fact that they let this happen, this catastrophe of October 7th, something like this becomes practical and very real, meaning the development and all of the things that I've talked about with respect to the Gaza Strip. If you didn't have the October 7th catastrophe, and it was a horrible catastrophe, then probably you wouldn't be talking about that. But the only thing I can say is this is going to bring stability and peace to the Middle East. And ultimately, when it's developed, which will be quite a while from now, because we want to let things calm down. But when it's developed, it's going to bring tremendous numbers of jobs to the Middle East, including the people of your country.
So there you have it. The president of the United States, relaxed as fuck. It is so crazy that someone so dumb, without any knowledge of what he talks about, is cool, calm, and collected, feeling at home. The so-called king of Jordan, the person who seemingly would have some expertise, basically, excuse my description, looks like he's shitting in his pants.
He was glitching.
Scared of Trump. Excessively, there's other clips where he's just excessively blinking and nervous, attempting to keep the peace because he has over 1.7 billion, I guess, in so-called aid on the line. Allows Trump to talk about seizing Gaza, turning Gaza into a development project. and publicly says nothing about Palestinians and says he's going to do what's in the best interest of, I think he said, the United States and Jordanians, and that's what he's here to represent. And he called Trump a man of peace later on in the same interview. And so I think, just an open display of subservience to a U.S. empire and master. Yeah.
The other evening, I want to say 2 nights ago, Monday night, Stephanie, I always forget her last name intentionally, so I think it's an intentional block. But Stephanie, who reports on MSNBC, she does the economic reporting sometimes, but she has a show that comes on after Lawrence O'Donnell at 11. And her quip was to remark, where are all the protesters? When Biden and Harris, in the last 15 months, they were out on the street every day. Trump says that he's going to take Gaza. Where's the protesters? Seems like this is a hypocritical, that's what the vein of the statement was, because one of the pundits responded that the Democrats are indeed disappointed in the reaction or the non-reaction from protesters because of how much their feet were held to the fire over Palestine. And then I turned to my mother and said, well, because Stephanie mentioned the students too. During the summer, all the administrations got together and created a bunch of laws around these schools. So what we've seen with those encampments will not happen again. And certainly not to the extent that it's happening again. We still have thousands of students across the country who are facing real criminal charges. 6 of them are at CUNY right now, facing years.
Yep.
So we have students facing real criminal charges. We have students facing deportations, right? Mamadou is one of them, our comrade. So the idea is that, oh my God, the people are just not reacting to Trump in the same way, or the people are hypocrites, or this is what we get, I think is the narrative that we're seeing at play here. Not dissimilar to, oh, well, if Palestine was your line, look at what Trump is doing. And I just want to note something that came out in the AP press over the weekend, where the diplomat of Egypt said that Egypt rejected similar proposals from the Biden administration and European countries earlier in the war, which was sparked by Hamas October 7, 2023 attack into southern Israel. The earlier proposals were broached privately while Trump announced his plan at the White House press conference alongside Israel Netanyahu. So I say that to say that Richard Medhurst right now is under a lot of pressure. Right now, I think he just got arrested in Austria. One of his videos lays out the plan for the greatest Israel plan, where Netanyahu has taken those maps to the UN multiple times and said, this is what we're doing, and this is what we will do, and this is the goal. So this idea that this is something that has just sparked from Trump specifically, and that there's no reaction to Trump specifically around this, I think is a play on the narrative of the Democratic Party. I do, because I do not think that there is no reaction to Trump. I still think that there's people mobilizing on the streets around this Palestine issue. But I do think what has happened in the last 15 months, because of the mobilizations and the way that those mobilizations have been clamped down against, has affected the way that people are able to mobilize now. So it's not to say that people are not mobilizing against Trump's now overt turn towards Gaza, but it is to say that there's reasons that things are happening the way that they are happening, or the way that they are playing out. And it is not that people have just decided, well, Trump is his office, our job here is done. Like, it has not, that's never been the case. Also, the ceasefire happened. So the immediacy of these urgent mobilizations are not there. They're just not there. But it's not to say that nobody's unaware or unaffected, or there's nobody speaking to what Trump is doing. And I think that's the kind of misplay, because Jordan and Egypt, I don't think they've ever seen an aid package that they have not they have not said, sure, whatever you want. But I do think people should go back and listen to a John Moon from last Wednesday, where he spoke a bit about this. And I'll yield there.
Yeah, I just as not unsophisticated as Trump is, and he is that way because why should he be anything other than that way when him being that way hasn't stopped him from getting anything he has wanted in his life in this country. I mean, this man is president of the United States again. And you got people in whole states who are like, how the hell did people vote for this psycho the first ask people in New Jersey? Like, what the hell is wrong with the rest of you? People are wondering. But the Democrats are they're something else, because now the Democrats who did not say anything about the protests for 15 months, other than to repeat the Biden-Harris administration calling protesters anti-Semitic, lying about them causing violence, lying about them intimidating Jewish students on campus. The Democratic Party and their refusal to acknowledge that the people protesting are protesting genocide. And of course, they couldn't acknowledge that because the Democrats were facilitating the genocide. But because they went along, the Democratic Party and the media went along with criminalizing and demonizing these protests, the criticism of the Biden administration facilitating genocide, all of that, they created this landscape where now Trump can come in and just say, we're going to deport protesters. Well, I mean, weren't protesters being beaten up and arrested and kicked out of school, just like Erica said, under Biden? All of that repression against those protests that we saw under Biden-Harris. So these people are sitting there talking about, oh, well, you're not protesting under Trump. Well, y'all already locked a lot of our people up. What do you want? These damn students, hell, they're afraid to go back on campus at all because they got the police literally waiting for them to come on campus so they can lock them up. And that's because of the Democrats. So these people now are using the fact that they ignored 15 months of anti-genocide protests. And when they did pay attention to them, it was only to repress them. Now they're using that as a gotcha. Oh my, these people are psychotic. The Democrats are dangerously psychotic. You can see the Republicans coming from 10 miles away. That what Trump is doing is horrible. But again, how come everybody is just jumping to his orders when a week later the courts are like, pump the brakes, stop that, restore these websites, don't do that? Like, come on, this is not the people that see, they're not gonna, I told you they wanted Trump to win, all these crazy leftists. No, you have repressed us to the point that people are afraid, and people, hell, they can't, or else they will lose their freedom, and that's because of the Democrats.
For me, a part of the interesting thing is that, again, that the overt white nationalist has no fear, and speaking about Trump, of describing his plans, taking off the cover of any so-called U.S. Offering a two-state solution, and making Arab leaders have to respond to it. And some Arab leaders, of course, most Arab countries are saying that the taking of Gaza is a non-starter. But I found it interesting that in his face, Trump continually talked about taking it. Again, in other interviews, Trump has talked about stopping the flow of aid to Jordan, and has already actually did stop the flow of aid, including military aid to Jordan, under this 90-day review. The only 2 or 3 countries that escaped that were, in total, of course, Israel and Egypt. And so what happens, like, I don't know for sure if Trump would use the military to take Gaza, or allow the Israeli military, or do more to allow the Israeli military, as this so-called ceasefire begins to potentially break down, attempt to go back in. And then what would be the reaction to countries like Jordan and Saudi Arabia and Egypt? So I'm always interested in how these countries are, again, naked imperialism no opportunity to even give them cover, exposing them exactly to their people. And I think these countries are worried, probably not as much Saudi Arabia, but Egypt and Jordan in particular, about what the potential reaction could be at home based on this kind of open declaration of we're not even following that old script, the old script that we never intended to do anything about a two-state solution, as we continually allowed Israel to take land in the West Bank, to basically build an open-air prison out of Gaza. But even the camouflage of that is off, and forcing these sort of Arab dictators and autocrats to respond to it. And then just again, it's more about the visuals and the media look of having someone who considers themselves to be a king of a country, who was actually installed by the British, of course, but the king, his family legacy, but a king of a country sit there looking like a child in front of a dumbass American who obviously knows nothing about the region, nothing about the history, couldn't care two fucks about it, wants to sit there and praise himself about his history of real estate deals, and claims that they're going to take Gaza and cherish it. It's almost as if he patted, the Jordanian leader on the head, and just told him to just sit there and be quiet.
I mean, I think I'm also interested about what's going to happen with Dubai as well. In the aftermath of this, especially the way that he's describing Gaza, is the way that Dubai has the mystification of Dubai has been described. This was a desert, a lowly desert, and nothing was happening here, and then we built it up, and so you see the utility of Dubai as a proxy for the U.S. So I'm interested if that is the long-term goal for the U.S., because Gaza is being fixated on as the West Bank is under tremendous tremendous attack, and also southern Lebanon right now. I think Israel just droned southern Lebanon. So and this is all during ceasefires that Israel has no intention to respect, that there's going to be no pressure for them to. But to your point, I do think that what we're seeing in terms of what contradictions are being highlighted primarily within the Middle East is what we've noted around the role of Jordan, the role of Saudi Arabia, the role of Egypt, and not necessarily specifically in regards to Palestine, but in regards to Syria, in regards to Yemen, and how they've always kind of capitulated to the U.S. because they are proxy states of the U.S. But I think what they're finding themselves up against is that Jordan is primarily, at this point, majority Palestinian, because Palestinian refugees have had to leave and go into there. So I think it will be interesting to see how he thinks he's going to get away with this, because there has been such strong reaction from the people in Jordan over the last 15 months. There has been pressure on that government, which is why initially they can make the statements that we're not even going to entertain the shit that Trump is saying, right? Even if they are going to eventually entertain the shit. It is the pressure from the people on the ground. Egypt too. Egypt is seeing that particular kind of pressure. But I think that Egypt is able to maneuver in different ways than Jordan because of where Egypt is geopolitically and geographically. So I think that Egypt has a different things that they have to contend with than Jordan and Saudi Arabia that are kind of right in the midst of it. And then Yemen is going to continue to play the force that it's playing, even aside from the threats. Like Yemen is saying, well, we're ready whenever y'all are. Like, I figure sit on the trigger, just say word. So I do think that this is opening up a broader conversation about the politics of the Middle East per se, because I think that there's always been a misunderstanding of what's happening there propaganda-wise, especially with Iran, right? Propaganda-wise, there's nations that have been depicted in a particular way that serves the U.S. and the Western hegemony and its particular interests, primarily with Iran, and the stronghold that Iran plays in terms of holding a lot of shit together. And the big hit that it took recently with what was happening with Hezbollah and Lebanon, I think that those are what's really going to play out in terms of how we're going to be able to, one, understand what's happening, but then what's actually going to happen. I think those are the determining factors, not so much the things that Trump is saying.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely agree with that. Like it's in some ways, obviously, I think Hezbollah is already in the rebuilding stage. Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas to an extent. Obviously, Yemenis, the Iraqi militias are definitely probably reevaluating or evaluating future strategies and tactics because they are the axis of resistance, right? And they are not. I mean, I think part of the thing for me that was so striking is to see, you have Iranian leaders who are under sanctions, under the threat of being bombed at any second, continually standing up to the United States, to Western Europe, speaking at, the old-fashioned way of truth to power, in a sense, calling out America imperial interest. Where then on the other hand, you have people like Jordan, the King of Jordan, Saudi Arabia again, Egypt. And I agree, Egypt is in a different position also because demographically it's a much stronger country. And so it actually could do more. And it, relatively speaking, defeated Israel in a war, I think, in 73. So there are things that these other nations could do, but they are so beholden, at least they feel. It's not like the aid goes to the people, but they're so beholden on the aid which they take and put in their pockets and the pockets of the folks around them, that they refuse to do anything to step out. And particularly for Jordan, like you said, not only is the population Palestinian vis-a-vis refugees, but of course, without the idea of borders, the population is free flowing and considers itself Palestinian anyway, in terms of a free flowing population before sort of rigid borders were set up. So the whole idea that these countries basically have security agreements with Israel, they have obviously economic agreements, they have these accords which they signed under the U.S. direction, that they're allowing, again, without the cover of the lie of whether Democrats or Republicans were saying it, of a two-state solution, but still allowing themselves to get played in such a way. And I do think it speaks to what the possibilities are in terms of uprisings if they ever thought about opening up those borders and taking in and depopularize. Can you imagine the scenes of visually ethnic cleansing as people are forced to exit Gaza and go into either, well, in this case, Egypt, but in the West Bank, Jordan? It would just be. I would hope the whole region would explode.
That is exactly what would happen. And I mean, I don't like to dismiss, what Trump is saying, because he is, clearly not the sharpest anything anywhere, not the sharpest knife in the drawer, not the sharpest tack. He's not the brightest bulb. All that is true. But the interesting thing is that what I think he's doing is really exposing what American exceptionalism really is. It's really like America has always operated exactly like he is saying. Like what America has wanted to do has never made sense. It has never made any kind of logical sense to be settler colonists and to come in and genocide people to steal their land and to colonize other countries. I mean, Guam and Puerto Rico are still colonies of the United States, and we live in domestic colonies. None of this makes sense, but the U.S. does it. It didn't make sense to overthrow the Kingdom of Hawaii, but they did it. So Trump is, even though it doesn't make sense what he said, it doesn't make sense that he wants to take over Greenland, but does it? Right? What is it? Why is he saying stuff that is just nutty and doesn't sound like it makes any logical sense? There is a kernel of relevance to what he's saying. The relevance is to him, to his personal enrichment, but I think the relevance is also showing us exactly what the what is it? What do they call it? The rules-based order. This is what the rules-based order is. This is what it is. It's the United States doing every crazy fucking thing that it wants to, regardless of how much sense it makes, regardless of how many international laws it breaks, regardless of how many people's sovereignty it completely bulldozes over. Doesn't make sense. This is what the rules-based order is, without the veneer of respectability over it. That's what I think this is with Trump.
Yeah. It's 19th century bold-faced manifest destiny politics, right?
Right.
It's, we are white, we are conquerors, we will control, we will take, because we have the biggest military.
And I think that's the reaction. That's the panic reaction that we're seeing from people, because it is so overt, right? Because it is happening, and suspiciously. Like he's not slowing it down. He's doing it every day. There's something else. Like I think I sent you all the new policy proposal to change Greenland to red, white, and blue land. And it's just like, okay, you got to give people a second to breathe now, sir. Like it can't be every goddamn day. Like it can't be every goddamn day. You up to some shit. But to the point, like, even when I said, I don't necessarily at that time understand what's happening with Greenland, why he would say that, I'll have to look into it. And as I've been looking into it, listening to Ben Norton, listening to my friends who work in that field, they've been saying this Greenland shit has been in the works for about 2 decades now. That they have been actually, because of the resources and the way that where Greenland is located and the pipeline that the U.S. has been trying to get from Nigeria through Algeria up into the Middle East is why they allegedly blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, etc. That's all part of this. So there's been plans that have been in the works where we're seeing this man come into office, review, seemingly look over those plans. It's like, y'all taking too long. Y'all not even doing this.
I agree.
He's like,
I think somebody showed him something one day. It's almost like a cartoon book, like a coloring book. Somebody showed him something. It's like, oh, Greenland. Yeah, well, how come we haven't taken that? He has no knowledge of it whatsoever. It's like, oh, yeah, these have been like, no, I like this. Let's do it. Let's talk about it. And then it's in his head.
Yeah, and I could absolutely imagine him saying something like, "Why can't we just take it over? It's just a bunch of Eskimos up there." That's
like, I mean, look at we have the Gulf of America now, right? Thanks to Google. But one thing I want to note, though, because nobody is really, I don't think, really interrogating the speed in which these corporations are just curtailing. Google didn't have to do that. There is no mandate set that Google has to do that, or Apple. That was a choice. That was a choice. And so all of this kind of, the depiction of Trump, right? I think does kind of, because we don't talk about Target, even with the DEI stuff, right? All of that was a choice. Nobody had to do a thing. They made the choice to do it. The UCLA scientist scholarship that I think it was in Mass as well, Massachusetts University of Mass, that they didn't have to end those scholarships for minorities because nothing even came down yet. They made the choice to do these things. So I think that we need to really be cognitive about the kind of class warfare and the class struggle that's existing in real time as well, right? The corporations are placing their bets with the right because they've always been to the right.
Yep.
Right? So whatever is happening, they're not going to necessarily stand against that. Like I just seen it today because my niece had posted it this morning. And I was like, well, technically, that's not, it's still the Gulf of Mexico. Like he can't just override that. Like, there's like international courts got to be involved. Like you can't just wake up one day and be like, bam, America. Like it's not 1776. But,
but conquest ain't that easy anymore.
Right. It's not that easy anymore. It has to be conversations and all of that. But I think it's interesting that my niece's response was, no, we took that shit. And I was like, man, who is the we? I do think that we're seeing a lot more of that. The kind of alignment, like the detachment from Trump, but the alignment with America, with the U.S.
Chauvinism. Chauvinism.
Right. So I think that's a very interesting thing that's playing out too. People want to be detached from Trump primarily because he's ruining their America. Their idea of America, the goodwill, the civil rights, all of their democracy. Trump is ruining their America. And so I do think it's really interesting the see that the way Africans have cemented themselves to the fabric of this system to then react in such a way to Trump, because they have now embedded themselves as part of the fabric. Like Africans in the US are seeing themselves as part of the US, as citizens and residents here who have a stake in here, even though we have never fully ever had rights.
And to quickly to your point earlier, I guess both of your points earlier, and then what becomes a de facto answer to it is, oh, let's vote for the Democrats, or the Democrats will bring us back, or give us this, or give us that. That becomes the de facto answer to people who are locked into a system, and the Democrats do showy, stupid protests, which make no sense whatsoever for lawmakers as they go to some of these government offices and demand entry with the cameras there, and knowing that they don't have, they're not going to be allowed in. And that for them is saying, oh, look, we're the resistance. So we're putting up a fight here. And that's supposed to be like, okay, everybody come back now, because you see how crazy this guy is. What you want is normal imperialism. What you want is imperialism with the cover on it. You want your cake with the icing on top. We get it. That's what we're here to give you. And that's the dilemma. That's the fallback position. No one thinks, or not enough people think beyond that realm of like like you said, a two-party state, the duopoly, where as soon as the Democrats get in, they're not stopping Trump policies or the prior policies that Trump is not stopping himself. They're just trying to do it with more share, with more of a cover on it, right? They're just trying to do it without the uproar. They're trying to do it a little slowly but surely kind of thing at times, until they speed it up and actually instigate and start a whole genocide against the people, and claim those people, of course, are terrorists, and so therefore deserve, But I like quick note, I noticed the New York Times claiming that a couple of the Israeli hostages suffered malnutrition, and it was front page story about two, and they make it like these two intricate stories talking to the families. And again, it's like not less than happening now, but also not less than several months ago, where an entire population was being starved. And when you look at the Palestinian hostages, their treatment is it's impossible to even describe. When people are murdered, not given food, tortured, limbs chopped off, all of these raped, all of these things happening. I don't remember any profile of any Palestinian highlighted in the New York Times about Israelis' treatment, despite the fact, again, that people through the use of social media have clearly documented, and there's no way of saying or suggesting that this stuff isn't happening. But the role of the New York Times, again, is to go back and present and give cover, even as it doesn't like Trump, because it too prefers its liberal neoliberal neo-fascism to the ugly kind. Again, it's the same fight they've been having for centuries, with the North, South, the liberals versus the conservatives. Imperialism is never in question. Acts of slavery and barbarianism and oppression are never the question. It's more or less, how do we get it done? How do we get it done? Do we get it done with a little veneer on top of it? And at times, then we'll blast them. But for the most part, let's keep this language of rule-based order. Let's say we're doing it for human rights. Or are we just naked aggression? And Trump is of the naked aggression variety of it, which, of course, I think has its own unique dangers, as we spoke about yesterday, with the releasing of sort of a pent-up overt white nationalism in the streets. But it is basically the same thing, just being done slightly differently at times, depending on the ideological perspective of that particular empire ideologue.
And then I also think it's important to note that, like, if there is true opposition, then they shouldn't have Congress approved every single one, right? So Tulsi Gabbard will now be taking care of that section. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, they are not serious people. And for me, even if it does seem repetitive, it is going to be repetitive, because the more that folks fixate primarily on what this man is doing without recognition of how he has been able to do it, then we're just running a Democratic Party line. that makes this man the exclusive, unique evil, the only one to have ever done a thing. No one has ever done anything like this before him. And he is ultimately the problem, because that has been their line. That has been their campaign, right? And this is how they're going to get people to run back. But there has to be clarity that this is the duplicity of the Democratic Party, and oftentimes complicity of the Democratic Party has landed us here. It has always landed us here because this whole theme of bipartisanship that has started out from the 90s has been with the intent of getting the American people, or the people here, the residents in the U.S., to go along with the plans of the broadening and expansion of Western hegemony. So they could play off of each other. They could be enemies one day and best friends the next. Hakeem Jeffries could talk about how great bipartisanship is while also talking and making Trump a sole, So there is a detachment from Trump that they want to do. Just detach themselves from Trump. But the policies, the things that are happening, the austerity policies, the things that are happening domestically, the policies around policing, they're good with that. They just don't want that man leading it, because he exposes the actual, what the plan is, or what the intent is, or what the objective is.
So speaking of the objective, the objective is to get the ear doctor up here to do a break.
Yeah, because we got Erica Keynes is about to lead the building. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you coming through. Great discussion, though, yo. I learned a thing or two.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. I actually, what?
I show up here just to make sure you learn.
I learned this word right here. Autocracy.
You didn't learn that word. You didn't learn it. You did.
You should have pressed that. You see right there where they have they don't have the speaker, because you can just click on it and they can pronounce it right for you.
Autocracy. No?
Oh, God.
Autocracy. Oh, okay. I say autocracy. Gotcha.
There we go.
Okay. System of government in which absolute power is held by the head of the state and government, known as an autocrat. Because when he said autocrat, I was like, what the hell? So learn that today. You're welcome. Appreciate it. All right. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break and come back with some more right here on no other than, you know what it is? Could y'all let them know what it is?
The Remix Morning Show.
Burn, Hollywood, burn. I smell a ride going on.
What's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. I'll go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Thank y'all. We up to 406 people watching live. That's right. Why don't y'all go ahead and be members on our Patreon? Go to Patreon, become a member over there, get footage that's rare. Share, let somebody else know that this show is on every Tuesday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And please, you can also go to our web page, which is blkliberationmedia.org. Go check it out. And while you're over there, go ahead and donate. We appreciate that. All right, so let me get to it right here. Last night I started watching a docu-series, and it was a very good docu-series. And I was like, yo, let me put my peoples on and let them see what they think about it. And the name of the series is called Hollywood Black. So this is a little trailer. Check this out.
That's wild, bro. I never seen this. Isn't that wild? I never seen this.
Are you kidding me? Can you imagine doing that today?
What is a black film to you?
Black movie is, well, I know one when I see one.
This movie was lost. I think about how much was lost through hatred, through ignorance.
And here you get the truth of it.
Very good flick. I was watching, and one of the big things I got out of it was when they was talking about how people that control the camera control history. Yeah, and I was just like, that's one thing that we do right here is make sure that we control this camera and we tell y'all and talk to y'all about what's really going on. Because if we don't have it, then how are y'all going to know the truth out here? So it was good to see this. It took you back to the beginning. This one guy named Oscar Mikix, I can't pronounce his name, but anyway, he was like one of the first, directors, authors, and he put out more than 44 films. And he had his own Lincoln Motion Picture Company, which was the first movie company owned and controlled by black filmmakers. And I mean, he started with the race films. He even did the silent films all the way to sound films. So a lot of this would never been known, but this docuseries brought out some of that and a lot of things. And how it was talked about Mr. Tibbs. When Sidney Poitier, they had a line around the building to get in and see. So Sidney Poitier slapped this white man in this movie. Like, they never seen that before. So it was a lot of good things on it. I suggest y'all go check that out. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and get back to the Remix Morning crew. You know how we do right here. Let's go. Damn, why ain't this playing? Well, let's get it playing like this. Let's get back to our crew. You know how we do.
Let's check out a flick that exploits the color.
Yeah. Now, how many?
Oscar Micheaux.
Micheaux. Okay.
Yeah. It's
Thank
French,
you.
I believe.
You on silence there, Jackie.
Mhm.
But man, this was a great docu-series. I was like,
I'm
good
scared
shit.
to watch it.
Don't.
I watched it. It's
Watched it?
yeah, it's been around for a minute, and you know, I have to learn, and this is hard because because everything is political. Everything is that there is nothing that exists that is not political. So there's nothing that can be created in the environment we live in that is not political, that isn't influenced by the politics of this place. So some of the things they highlight, it's like, yes, this is film history, but do we really want to be celebrating this kind of thing? Like, there was a whole lot of celebration of Tyler Perry and what he has been able to do.
Oh, I ain't get there yet. I only
Yeah,
watched the first
you
one.
don't want it. It's that and it's like, okay, I get the on the surface kind of significance of his accomplishments, but how has those accomplishments impacted our lives in any way? Right? Like, I get that art is supposed to reflect the times, but a lot of the films that they highlighted really did not reflect the times in a way that was accurate in the way those films were supposed to represent the people, right? They were, because of the way art is created in this society, if it's going to be accepted and distributed, it has to have a certain message. So while they highlighted, some really important firsts in film for Black folks, a lot of those firsts were like,
I mean,
did they call Tyler Perry our Martin Scorsese?
I think somebody did. I can't remember who they were interviewing.
See, I ain't even get there. See, Jack, don't mess it up for me, because right
that
now
sounds familiar. I'm not going to say that. I think I remember that. Something like, and that's the point where I was just like, okay, I can't do this anymore.
That's go ahead, your doctor.
But see, you jump straight to a bad part. Like the first episode was good history lesson. It taught you about a lot of stuff and how it even began. That's what I'm talking about. Don't just jump to the bad and make people think the whole thing is terrible.
No, and this is why I was saying, this is why I was giving my.
She tried to be balanced. She did try to be balanced. She said she thought it was good.
Yes,
but
had to bring in an analysis. There has to be an analysis.
Listen, the way I love action movies and horror movies, please do not take my criticism of art as any kind of expertise. I like to watch. I watch some messed up shit. So
I like how they was talking about Birth of a Nation, and I didn't know about all that history and stuff. Like, wow,
great. You're a Black Studies major, B. You didn't know about Birth of a Nation?
No, but just how they broke down more about how it came, how they put it out for the people.
I mean,
they just broke it down on another.
Yes, and that is good stuff. And we need to know these things. But again, but you got to understand this is the kind of the problem. This is kind of the flip side of being a revolutionary. You can't look at anything anymore from the lens of, oh, this is just entertainment. This is just a movie. This is just a song. You can't do that anymore, because once you realize that everything is political, then you can't turn off the fact that everything you consume is political. And it's really hard to just kind of enjoy things, right? As people are always saying, because you do see the politics in it. That and I try to tell people that, oh, listen, I'm not trying to take away people's joy from enjoying stuff. I think we just do need to be very clear that we are being propagandized all of the time through all of these mediums. And I think it's really important for us to understand what it is they're propagandizing us to believe, because none of it is in our interest.
Yeah. Well, that's why I am trying to take away people's joy. Even as similar to you, like I may consume a lot of the bad stuff also, but it's hard for me not to look at these things through the lens of these filmmakers who are, again, like speaking of class consciousness, they're usually highlighting almost the fact that, hey, we were able to make this under certain circumstances and so forth. But when the perspectives are so limited or so smashed down in terms of like either they themselves become pro-American views, they themselves take on the same concept and ideas and stereotypes of Black people as the oppressors do, they themselves don't think about themselves as folks who are part of a larger political project or radical struggle. They think of themselves as in most of those films that you'll see, if there is a political message, it's either how Black folks helped open America up or fought for civil rights to be included, and overcame hardship to succeed or be included, or again the trash of Tyler Perry's kind of intricate family dramas. We can always just blame Black women for most of the things that happen in terms of the Black family. So my problem with a lot of them is not the achievement of like being able to make the movies. I think, of course, there's some level of achievement in doing that within a racist and oppressive society. But when the themes just keep people attached to American thematic history and artistry, or whatever you want to call it, filmmaking, then there is no breaking away. Right? There is no difference. It's just a Black version of something else, and these Black directors are just mad that their movies aren't getting the same space that white directors, without creating even. I know we don't like to talk about sort of like the Black capitalism theme, but without even creating the instruments for an industry to exist outside of mainstream Hollywood, where you could experiment more. And people like Michaud and there's others who experimented a great deal in film, but we don't really know about a lot of those films. In fact, right now, like China has just China's film industry. They have just created, or some animated film. It's got historical themes of Chinese history, mythology, and makes the Chinese folk the hero. Has just broken its box office for the biggest film ever made and viewed in China, like their box office record. And over the last few years, they've gone from Hollywood movies dominating their top 10 in box office to now their box office is dominated by the films that they produce, where they specifically, in terms of their own propaganda, the heroes are Chinese people and the villains are Americans, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it who they are pointing out as the people who you should be looking up to. Again, it is, of course, it's propaganda, but it's the propaganda for them and their people and their culture and their nation. It's not instilling the propaganda of a foreign country. They're moving away from that. So part of all of this is to say, like, yeah, it'll probably be a good thing to watch. There's a lot of things to learn, but because it won't break away from the idea of like, oh, we've overcome so much and we just want to be included and just have our chance to tell our stories, when those stories are not rooted in sort of a radical political concept of what it means to struggle against oppression. At least not enough of them are. And they're just reiterating certain propaganda that they've learned themselves. That's where it makes me be like, oh, I'm going to watch it. In some parts of it, you're right, I'm going to enjoy. And in some parts, I'm going to be like, oh, God damn, that's the stupidest thing I've heard in my life.
I think that's the balance of it. Some parts you get something out of it, and some you don't, because you know that everything is political. Now, Sounds of St. Elsewhere. I have a little time today. Dear doctor thinks eggs and vaccines are part of the white man's plot, but thinks these polished media products about black bourgeoisie should be given the benefit of the doubt. The fact that you don't think that eggs and vaccines aren't a part of the black white man's plot, and that's where you're fucking up. And yeah, I think that we need to look at all different perspectives instead of just one perspective, so we can get an understanding of how other people think at the same time. So yes, if I was engulfed in the history lesson and learning how Oscar went and went door to door to get money to do his films, and learning about these different actors that did the minstrel stuff, Hattie McDaniels, all this stuff, all the history I was learning there was like, yo, that's dope. I didn't know it. So it was enlightening to me, and I enjoyed that part. I didn't get to the Tyler Perry stuff yet, so excuse me, but I'm just saying what I did.
It's almost like the origins of hip hop for us, right? It's like in terms of filmmaking, cats selling the cassettes out the trunk. Again, just the get up and go and the so-called entrepreneurship of it. I think we all, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's pride to be taken in that when you see somebody making their dreams come true, but then you get to the actual content of what they're producing or saying, and then you're kind of like, well, okay, if I listen to that stuff closely, you know, it might not be the things that I necessarily always want, like my people or my kids or whatever it is to hear, or the lessons learned are not necessarily, again, some of the lessons are good over, like, you know, overcoming violence in the community and all the rest of it, or dealing with it, or what we live through. So I think, it's always like that mixed bag of like,
you know, take the good, you take the bad, you take it all, and there you have facts of life. All right, I get out of here and let y'all get to it.
Oh, that I
didn't want to end that way either, but
okay.
The facts, but now it's in my head. Now he's got that damn song.
I know there it is.
Speaking of trash that I used to look at all the time and be like,
oh my God,
Tootie.
Now I cannot get it out of my. Stop it.
What? Tootie was fine. Wasn't it Kim Fields? Kim Fields, Tootie?
Yes,
sir.
I can see the attraction. I do. I could see it.
Wasn't she? In fact, she's in some kind of bad sitcom now, I think, and still fine.
Oh, with Mike Epps. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some bad Netflix thing. It's like Tootie.
It's such a bad representation. Like the black man constantly lying, and she's allowing to be like, all right, I'll take you back, even though you lied. And I'm just like, God damn.
See what
we know.
Not just proving what we just
That's
said.
what I'm talking about. But I was talking about the history lesson of how things started. I was enjoying that part. But yes, it's all proper.
What else
you
was
said.
Tootie in besides Facts of Life? What else was she in?
Tootie was in Tootie.
Why has she survived so long in terms of an actress? What else was she in?
I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Look, she's one of that. She's like a well-known black actress.
Yeah,
I can't remember what else she was in besides Facts of Life.
That's it.
Living Single. That's
Living Single.
Brittany. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you.
Yes, Living Single.
So
she was the black bougie chick in
Living Single. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I was like, there was one more thing.
I was just gonna let the men. I was just gonna see how long y'all were gonna struggle before you got.
You remember that she was? I forgot it.
Yes, of course.
It just slipped my mind.
All right, let me
two whole grown black men who consume.
Who you know watch it. I watch Living Single every week. Every week.
They struggle that long to get.
What? Maxine was fine. What are you talking about?
Yes, she was. Yes, she was.
Stop playing.
Yes, she was.
Overton or Kyle, I could have did either one.
See?
Either one. Look, either one.
She like a man with a tool belt.
I only had two choices, though.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. Well, no, we did too. I mean, Queen Latifah wasn't a choice for straight men. So. Okay, you want to get some more news?
Let's get to some more news. That was oh boy.
Do you have anything you want to bring up, or you want me to?
What do you have?
I had a follow up to Eric Adams, and I got a story about a black family losing potentially losing their land to a white railroad company.
Oh
Those are
yeah,
my-
let's see what Adams the pig did. Adams, the the last black pig, but not
The
from
last,
Haiti.
let's see, there's a good name for a movie. That's a good name for a movie. So Eric Adams, who we reported on yesterday, has escaped prosecution. The Trump led attorney generals are looking to drop the charges against him. I do not think it's official yet, but it's somewhat announced that it's about to happen. And Eric Adams did a video announcing, of course, that he was innocent. Haha. And so we talked about it being a quid pro quo. And now the newspaper is reporting that Mayor Adams to top commissioners: don't criticize Trump, don't interfere with immigration enforcement. And it says, after weeks of confusing messaging on ICE raids, the mayor ordered his staff to stifle criticism of the feds, and that he alone will make sure New York City doesn't lose funding. Of course, that's the most important thing, as people are being separated from their families and hauled off and so forth. So it says Mayor Adams gathered his top commissioners and officials early Monday to give marching orders under the new administration: don't criticize President Trump, don't interfere with immigration enforcement, and trust the mayor, multiple sources told the city. Adams scheduled the approximately hour-long meeting, which was held at the municipal building late Friday, after days of confusion over guidance on what to do if immigration and customs enforcement agents arrived at city buildings, including schools and hospitals. The city reported, the newspaper, in January, that one memo instructed city employees to intercept ICE agents attempting to enter city-owned buildings. City lawyers could weigh in, but Hellgate reported last week that another memo told employees they could let federal law enforcement in if they feel reasonably threatened. The mayor began the meeting Monday by asking his top officials how they felt and that they shouldn't be shy about sharing. Sources told the city that's a lie. They should not share if they want to keep their jobs. After some people expressed their concerns and asked for clearer guidance from the mayor, Adams ordered them to stop complaining and to keep their heads down and refrain from criticizing President Donald Trump, and trust that he will make sure the city doesn't get federal grants pulled. Multiple people told the city. They were also ordered not to be critical of the president or federal government on social media. So, basically Trump has threatened to pull federal funding for so-called sanctuary cities where laws or policies limit local government's cooperation with immigration enforcement. New York City's law allow cooperation with ICE only in limited instances involving people convicted of certain felonies with a judicial warrant. So here you see the quid pro quo again. Adams openly, the Democratic black mayor Adams openly telling his staff to not to interfere with ICE and to not to criticize Trump and not to do it on social media.
Oh boy, this. Oh. First, I have to say, I was very excited at the potentiality of an Eric Adams going down in a spectacular way, much like Rudy Giuliani has been forced to. But alas, that joy has been brutally and cruelly snatched away from me. I am upset, as we all should be. However, shouldn't we have seen this coming though? Because in all seriousness, if there were ever a Step and Fetch It character, if there were ever a Stephen character, and with Stephen, if Eric Adams is Stephen, I think every depiction or every other person that we have tried to superimpose the character Stephen upon, I do not think any of them have been as accurate as Eric Adams as Stephen. This man literally went into a meeting with Trump or a Trump surrogate or a Trump henchman or whatever. And coward, yes, a boss. I won't say nothing bad about the boss if you know you make these charges go away. I'll be a good nigger and I make sure everybody in the New York government will be a good. No, sir, boss, we ain't gonna get in the way of the ICE agents coming to get. No, sir, boss, just, you know, thank you. If you just keep me out of jail, boss, I'll be real good to you. You've been good. That nigga did. That's what he did. And you can't tell me that conversation did not go very
I think that was a live recording, actually.
I can only appreciate the clarity that moments that we are living in right now are exposing, Kamau. Because I can't, what else can we say? Because we have told people that this is the nature and the character of people, of Democrats like Eric Adams. You know, that when we do this, these representational politics. Oh, Eric Adams is the first Black mayor of New York since what was his name?
Dinkins.
Thank you, Dinkins.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what you got. This is what you're celebrating. This is it. And this goes right back to what we were talking about, just about the documentary. It's like, okay, you can celebrate, I guess, that a Black man ascended to this office, but it's that Black man though. Like, who are we celebrating? So this is what New York got. This is who Eric Adams always was. And I think for me, this does expose pretty clearly when we look at Eric Adams and this deal, when we look at Hakeem Jeffries and the him saying on Twitter, like, what do y'all expect us to do? What leverage do we Democrats have? You know, the Republicans have the House and the Senate. We don't have any power. This is the Democratic Party. So people who are upset when we look at the current situation and we can trace how we got here back to the Democrats, people are upset, but I don't understand how you cure a disease if you don't trace the origin from the symptoms to the actual thing that is causing the infection. You can't just, I have cancer and you're going to give me Imodium because I'm throwing up. You're not going to take the cancer out? Well, come on. That's not.
No, I feel like, Eric Adams has continually, historically speaking, when I was in New York, he was craving for power, craving to be in charge of something, craving to be in front of the media and in front of the cameras. And so this has been his personality, is just the attempt to find ways to hoard power and to be in charge. And it doesn't matter what he's in charge of. It doesn't matter what he does while he's in charge, as long as he can say that he is the boss of something. And that's part of the thing, is that they have no ideological objectives except to survive and to serve power, and somehow to get rich. So, these bribery charges, which are now or about to be dismissed by the Attorney General's office or the Justice Department, clearly had facts to them around conversations and text messages, exchanges of resources. And so craving for money and power and influence, and will do anything to survive. He has no interest whatsoever in the outcome of what happens on the ground with people in their day-to-day lives. New York City is a multi-billion-dollar city, through the financial system, through taxes. Even if there's a threat of the government taking away certain resources, New York City is probably best able to survive that threat, like under a Trump. He could easily stand up and fight, tell New Yorkers. I'm not saying he has it in him, but I'm saying any mayor that supposedly is in opposition, stand up and tell the population, if we do this, this will be the outcome. Are you with us? Are you with us? Are you here to protect our people, everyday people? And literally, he probably would have thousands of people on his side, particularly because New York likes to think that it's liberal, even though it's not. It likes to think that it's liberal. So standing up to Trump would be a huge benefit to his political life. Obviously, not to his potential for going to prison at this particular stage, but that's on him. And so even now, like with the elections coming up in 2025, there are a host of, as we spoke about yesterday, a host of folks jumping into the primaries, even on the Democratic side, because now it's clear that he's brought off by Trump. And again, people want somebody who looks like they're not going to be in Trump's pocket, and who speaks out against some of the Trump policies, even if they do so in a nominal way and don't really do anything to act against them. And so he's, his ratings are extremely low in terms of polling, some of the lowest polling numbers in sort of the history of a mayor. And so there's the chance, and, I think Cuomo is jumping in, and just by name popularity, yes, exactly. Just by name popularity alone, he's looking to be the new mayor of New York City, which is incredible. But he's going to stand up and say things and challenge Trump most likely, and that'll get him over. And so, I mean, it's just an incredible dilemma because we have no real left parties in the United States, and people we refuse to build them, I should say, all of us, to the degrees necessary if we're going to even use the electoral arena as a place of struggle. And until that happens, we're going to be at the whim of this two-party system, which doesn't give us any out whatever. So
I'm sorry, Cuomo.
Yeah, Cuomo. That's unless another scandal breaks in between now and the election,
and that is entirely possible.
Yes, it is, and it is probable. And then the question just becomes on how bad the scandal, are there, if it's mere accusations at this stage, without pictures or recordings, he'll probably survive it. Because in these days now, the accusations, that there's some balancing act, but having 10 women come out and say you have done something to them isn't enough to assure your
Right.
defeat at this particular stage in history. So.
This is true. Oh boy. Oh my God. Okay. Maybe this will make some people feel a little bit better. So, how we've been talking on this show about these executive orders. I've called them chaos orders. And I've been telling folks, calm down, calm down, calm down. Because yes, it is true that he is issuing all of these executive orders. And yes, it is true that people, as Erica correctly pointed out earlier, everybody is like rushing to just do what this man says. And I understand the executive orders are directed to the federal government. So they do have some obligation to follow the executive orders. However, I maintain that if you believe this man really is a fascist, and if you believe what he is doing is evil, and if you believe that what you are doing is for the good of the people, why are you not opposing these immoral orders? But okay, aside from the ideological struggle that I'm not seeing a whole lot of people in these positions engaged in, there is the fact that I said that a lot of these executive orders will be challenged in court. A lot of these court decisions are going to at least temporarily stop whatever it is they're trying to do while they adjudicate the cases. And it's happened again. It's been happening the whole time, pretty much. A judge has ordered the Department of Health and Human Services, the Centers for Disease Control, and the Food and Drug Administration to restore deleted web pages with health information because they just went and did what he said. A federal judge on Tuesday, sorry about that, ordered the Department of Health and them to restore the web pages and data that had been scrubbed in compliance with President Trump's executive order on gender ideology while litigation moves forward. U.S. District Judge John Bates agreed to grant a temporary restraining order sought by the group Doctors for America, which argued that its members use the websites when treating patients and conducting research. The nonprofit organization said that the removal of the web pages by the Department of Health and Human Services and its components violated federal law. Bates found that the challengers were likely to succeed in their claims that the Department Health and Human Services, CDC, and FDA acted unlawfully when they stripped medical information from public-facing websites. It bears emphasizing who ultimately bears the harm of defendants' actions: everyday Americans, and most acutely underprivileged Americans seeking health care, the judge wrote, citing declarations from 2 doctors filed in the case. Bates said if they cannot provide these individuals the care they need and deserve within the scheduled and often limited time frame, there is a chance that some individuals will not receive treatment, including for severe life-threatening conditions. The public thus has a strong interest in avoiding these serious injuries to the public health. Excuse me. And this was done because of the executive order Trump signed on his first day in office on gender ideology, stated that the U.S. recognizes 2 sexes, male and female. You can argue with your mama, but you can't argue with biology, and you can't legislate biology either. And that's what, anyway. And it directed agencies to remove, quote, all statements, policies, regulations, forms, communications, or other internal and external messages that promote or otherwise inculcate gender ideology, end quote. Days after issuing the order, the Office of Personnel Management issued a memorandum ordering all agencies by 5 p.m. on January 31st to take down all websites, social media accounts, and other public-facing media that inculcate or promote gender ideology. The wording on some websites was adjusted to adhere to Trump's directive, allowing them to stay online. Other information, like data from the CDC's Youth Risk Behavior Surveillance System, was removed completely. Doctors for America filed its lawsuit against the health agencies on February 4th. The group argued in court papers that its members relied on the scrubbed information to provide treatment, conduct research, and inform public health responses on topics like youth risk behaviors, adolescent health, and HIV. And I'm just going to stop there, because I know that some people have a lot of opinions about, transgender issue, about gay and queer rights. This is a matter of human rights and dignity, period, end and full stop. And the information that was removed from these websites was stuff that didn't even have anything to do with promoting gender. Biology is what it is. You do not have to agree with biology, but biology exists. And regardless of what people decide to recognize, biology exists. And it is not what you transphobes think it says. It does not. Gender is not binary. It is not biologically binary. It is not. It has never been. And I know that people think that, but it's not. Regardless of what you believe, denying health care and information about critical health issues that impact marginalized communities is dangerous and evil. And I do not see enough concern from folks about how targeting transgender people creates a situation where everybody else suffers. Don't you want to know about HIV rates among adolescents? When there are serious problems with chlamydia outbreaks in certain teenage populations around this country, don't you want to know why that is? The fact that there is what are they calling it? A triple pandemic almost because of the spread of the flu virus, COVID still, and RSV, and tuberculosis rates are higher, and other respiratory disease rates are higher. All of that was on the CDC website. Website was taken down. What did that have to do with gender ideology? What did that have to do with whatever it is you believe about promoting transgender? See, this is the evidence that we need, that some people need to understand. When the system attacks one group of people, everybody else is impacted. Everybody. The reason you didn't know, the reason you don't understand that eggs are so high, not because of anything Trump is doing. The reason eggs are so high is because there is a bird flu that has now reached the United States and is traveling among the livestock populations, or the livestock, what do you want to call them, inventory of the industrial agricultural outfits. That's why your eggs are high. But you didn't know that because the CDC took their website down to conform with Trump's executive order on gender ideology, the FDA rather. What did that have to do with gender ideology? Nothing. Other than in the effort to go after one marginalized group of people, everybody else was put at risk. And that is the problem that we are facing right now. This is what I feel like I really think people are not getting. Whatever it is you agree with that Trump is doing, if it's going after immigrants, if it's going after trans people, I hope you are seeing how other people are being caught up in that, because that's how fascism works. That's why that poem exists. First, they came for the socialists, and I didn't say anything because I wasn't a socialist. And by the end of the poem, everybody else that you decided to go along with, the state coming after, all those people are gone. So they finally get to you, and nobody is there to protect you. So these agencies did not have to take down all of their websites that provide the public with critical health information that could help us protect ourselves, but they did. And that really ought to cause people to wonder, who the heck is in these agencies, running these agencies before Trump came into office?
Well, some of these people are appointees of Trump who are not only listening, there are also people who are thinking they're going to get fired. And some of these are, even though they're not confirmed appointees, they're appointees in the interim who are also listening to the Trump or part of the Trump agenda. And so what's happening in a lot of the federal agencies, the people who are now leading these federal agencies are Trump appointees. They are people who, again, some of them have not been confirmed by Congress yet, like you have in the Department of Education. But you have interim people who are undersecretaries who are running these departments and fully on board with the Trump campaign. And I think the other thing that these things do is like you say, they may be targeted towards certain populations, but the effects are huge because there are not only websites and information about disease prevention, where to get medicines, things that used to be free that people could get from the government free, as in taxes were paid, so not really free. And I even think some of the egg stuff, when you'd have the Department of Health, FDA, CDC, again, the United States disconnecting itself from the World Health Organization, all of these things will ultimately matter in terms of testing of foods, having requirements around standards. And so you should look out for not only more breakouts, which will happen from time to time anyway in a large industrialized food production system, but will they be prevented or will they be stopped? Or will they be allowed to spread because of the purposeful disorganization and the purposeful lowering and or firing of literally thousands and thousands of government employees, so that these things won't be watched for, won't be looked at. The amount of bribery, the amount of health issues, housing issues that we're about to encounter. This is again where I think the Trump administration is a particular threat, or where it shows itself to be a particular threat, because the veneer of even caring about health, obviously race, things on sex and so forth, they are throwing all of that out, and everybody is basically on their own. And this is going to have a huge impact on the economy. And the only thing I think that, particularly for the white nationalists and supremacists and neoconservatives and the rest of them, that will give them pause is when the economy begins to falter. That is the thing that will be the doing in of a Trump regime. And so as they continue to empty out the federal government, and when we come back, I'm going to, there's a story around inflation. And if inflation continues, unemployment begins to tick up, those are the only things that will have an impact on the Trump regime. Of course, they will also blame Biden for these things, but they are now in power. And so they will, they are the ones who are going to be looked at in terms of bringing down U.S. economic standards. And that is the only thing that's going to stop this full-on assault on certain parts. Like certain parts of the federal government, I think most of us are like, go to hell, glad it's done. Although we know some things will have some consequences to them. But there's other parts of the mechanism and the machine that do have life-saving impact, even if it's not enough, even if it's not everything that it should be doing, which are now going to be impacted by the Trump regime and the dismantling of the federal apparatus. So yeah, I just want to throw that part in also. And speaking of an apparatus, let's bring in the ear doctor.
Yeah, apparatus. I looked at.
I thought you were going to say speaking of an aberration, but I'm sorry.
Hey, y'all talking that talk, man. Y'all better out there stop buying them $8 eggs. Get y'all some mung beans. I've been trying to tell y'all. But anyway, let's go ahead. Hey, did y'all see?
No, I'm not doing it.
Just continue to eat bird flu, possibly eggs. Gotcha.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay.
I get eggs fresh from our farm, the C&D farm.
Yeah, good for you, man. Good for you and yours.
Damn.
The fact that you have a farm. Hey, did y'all see this right here?
Oh, wow.
They are organizing, boy, quickly. Look at him.
Oh my God. The whites have been wanting to do that for.
Oh, look at that.
I don't see any of these shirts around Elon Musk. Where's the Elon Musk?
No.
I don't see an Elon Musk.
Where's the? I mean,
but look at your boy. He's half Jewish.
Where's the Elon Musk shirt?
Oh, not this guy. They could have got anybody.
We need to go sit. They really dragged that pedophile.
Oh, he did a song with him.
God, they got all of them out here.
They got him.
They got white Jewish Hollywood in droves, white Jewish billionaires.
Yep, they got a couple of the black Jews. Well, one
all that against this one black musician who is trash, but not against the billionaire Elon Musk.
Not at all.
Who just did a Heil Hitler salute?
Not at all. Not at all.
That's your target. Your target is the black musician. Earlier was what was the guard's name for the Nets or the Knicks? The guard.
Oh, Jason Kidd. The Nets.
No, the guard that played. You know, the guard that he put the book up. The NBA guard. He put the book up about something around Jewish thing, and then he got traded. And
you talking about Kyrie?
Irving.
All the smoke for Kyrie. In fact, the ADL came out with a statement against Kanye, and obviously in the past against Kanye. So all this smoke, Elon Musk literally gets on stage and does a fucking Heil Hitler twice. Newest the t-shirts.
And so everybody's saying this is AI. I would tell you, man, this AI is some wild shit, boy. You can get away with anything, boy.
Everything. On one hand, we got everybody passing around obvious AI photos of made up AI generated black families and all kind of, because the one that went around about the 4 black quadruplets and who were 100 years old, Jesus Christ, that was But now things that are actually real that people just don't like. Now that's AI too. Oh my God.
Too much.
We are.
Let's take a quick break. We need one.
I'm leaving.
The only thing Hiram got mad at is I said he played for the Knicks.
Yeah, it's Brooklyn. He played for Brooklyn. I know.
Oh.
You can't with Hiram. You know, you got to get it right with this guy. All right, let's take a quick mental break. We need that. Remix on the remix. You know how we do. Hit that like button, subscribe if you new. Let's go. 1, 2.
I speak to myself sometimes, and I say, oh my, in a lot of ways you're a lucky guy, and now on you is a chance to try and in love. Yeah. In my heart there's a need to shout, dying, screaming, crying, and let me out. Yeah. Are all those feelings that I want to touch and in love.
Okay, let me take you to a time and place. Let me take you back to 1988. We talking about with Luther Vandross off his album Any Love, and the name of that song is Any Love. Mixed with a little bit of Kool G rap. Yes, back in 1989. One more year after that, he came out with this song Truly Yours off the album Road to the Riches. Yes, that is your remix on the remix. Now let's get back to our Remix Morning crew. You know how we do. Let's go.
And everybody feels alone without any love, any love.
Yeah.
Suddenly out of the clear blue sky.
Sing it.
Oh.
Please.
Not enough credit, B. Not enough credit.
So, well, we can we please just go back to a simpler time when we knew what things were, when we saw them.
Loofah.
We knew what loofah was when we saw loofah. We knew that loofah was real.
Mm-hmm.
Not AI. That was
AI.
his voice, and that was his voice.
But then you get.
Man.
Then you got you remember when they were doing the bad holograms of dead celebrities, like when people people swore up and down, nah, Tupac's still alive, and they send you this weird picture of some random person who vaguely looks like Tupac, or a weird pre-AI generation of an obviously fake Tupac. I mean, it was nice when you knew things were fake.
Yeah.
Now you don't know.
Now you don't know when things are fake.
Me.
And big up
Things
to one of my.
I mean, AI is advancing at a rate that is kind of alarming me. But you know,
it's a lot. Big up to my man Kool G Rap, one of the first gangsters talking about capitalism and all that stuff, and killing people for drugs, and yeah.
I want to go back real quick to the Kanye thing too. Mm-hmm. Like I saw some people that Kanye deserves smoke. Who gives a? I don't really care about Kanye, to be honest. Kanye is not. Again, Kanye is a distraction, and sometimes a purposeful distraction. Mm-hmm. And for these other folks to get up here and put these T-shirts on and be a distraction, again, they never came after your man Musk. And more importantly, I don't remember any of those cats in a commercial telling Israel to stop its genocide on Palestinians. When your very people are committing a genocide, and what you're upset about is that somebody called you a name, it shows your true political character. It shows where you're at. So you could be quiet and silent, not gather, not get together, not say anything, not do a commercial to tell your very own people to stop. And that's to stop a genocide. And that's one of the things about when folks say, oh, look at what this one is doing and that one is doing. What are you doing about things that you have some control, or you are part of the culture, right? So when you are part of the culture or something, then that's when you should most speak up. When you're part of a system of something, we live in America, we're part of the belly of the beast. That's why we primarily should be targeting the belly, the actor that we, whether we like it or not, are contributing to. Those mofos are not saying nothing about a genocide, a land grab, a land steal, ethnic cleansing, that their very people, in fact, some of them in that commercial are standing up for it.
Well,
but
you know
again,
that ain't real.
What?
That
The commercials
wasn't
are real?
No, it's AI. We just talked about this. Were you
But you didn't say it was really AI. You said it might have been AI.
Oh, no, it was. It was AI. I'm out of here.
I thought it was real. And they probably do. They probably support it anyway. But
that is the point about what I was saying about.
Well, that was damn good then as AI.
This is and this is why I don't like the way, because somebody in the chat was like, oh, maybe they need to have a tech expert on to explain AI to them. Oh, the older generation is getting eaten up by AI. Obviously, if people are not able to immediately tell if something is not actually authentic, that is where the problem is.
Ear doctor, come back. Come back. Come back with that commercial. I need to see this again.
Oh man.
Do it again. Do it again.
That's
do
a
it
lot of
again.
work. I thought you had another good story you was about to get to.
No, fuck that now. No.
That is bad.
Play that again.
I gotta find it now, man.
Oh, you're saying, but
you gotta find
are you suggesting? Why are y'all calling me a boomer? I'm not a goddamn boomer.
Get him. All right, here we go. Let me see.
Let me see this real quick.
How
are you you sure this is AI?
That's what everybody's saying.
Who's
excited.
everybody?
Told is AI at the bottom of the screen. Very excited when I first saw it. Was sure it was real, but now being told it's AI is very important to make that clear.
That's crazy.
Ain't that crazy, right?
See?
Look crazy. Because it's not like I don't think these crackers would do that.
Yeah.
This is the thing. These are the folks in Hollywood who
just like
we have not heard anything from in regard to the genocide. But if this is AI generated, it's interesting that these are the folks that AI chose.
Well, somebody created it then. Somebody created the AI commercial.
Like this is people. Can we stop acting as if AI just creates shit all on its own? Somebody puts prompts into an engine and asks that this be generated. And why would they do that? That is the question I'm trying to get us. It's like, all right, that's fake. If that's true, it's AI generated. Why would someone do that?
Oh, and somebody else just put in that the two people in there are not that young anymore, too. The people from Friends. I was like, you know what? I just saw her. You're right. That's like 30. They look 30 years younger than what they.
That's yo, they could put anything out right now. we were really might not be like, oh, word, that really happened. Crazy. What's real? What's fake?
That's amazing. That was amazing. All right, my rant still holds though.
Oh yeah, it does.
They probably do. Yeah, they probably but it still holds. But that was.
And my question remains: why would someone, even if they used AI to create this, why? Because then that answers the question. Because a whole lot of people in the chat asking why. What did Kanye do? You don't know why they did this. This thing is floating around. People think it's real. It's AI. It's a response to something Kanye did. So what did Kanye do?
Oh, you don't know what Kanye did, or you?
No, I do. I'm asking. I'm like, this is. I don't understand why this is not the conversation we're having.
Yeah.
About this, as opposed to, I heard the old people can't spot AI.
We old, damn it. This is new technology. We learning. God, people, boy, I tell you, they be ready to throw you in the fire. Listen.
Well, they were right. I was ranting about something I thought was like these people stood there. And it's like, and then when you look at it more closely,
you can
again,
see
the age. The only reason why it makes sense that it's AI is because of the age difference between what some of those folks, some of those clips of people that they stuck T-shirts on from like 25 years ago. Because, again, the Friends actors, Ben Stiller, they look nothing like that today. Like, you know, they got triple chins and everything, and all the plastic surgery ain't helping that no more. So
Not
yeah.
Not at all.
Somebody said Ben Salah had six. He had 6 fingers in it.
Man,
You know what?
say-
I'm
say-
tired of you.
Get out the chat.
My bad.
They're AI too. And some of them are.
They chat
AI.
is that. I agree. Well, let's go to a quick story that's not AI. So, an inflation report is out. And I think this is important news. So inflation rises unexpectedly, complicating picture for the Fed. It says the consumer price index rose 3.0% from a year earlier as food and energy prices picked up. Says here, U.S. inflation rose to 3% in January, strengthening the case for the Federal Reserve to extend a pause on interest rate cuts. This consumer price index jumped more than expected. Data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics showed on Wednesday, rising 0.5% from December, and what was the fastest monthly increase since August of 2023. Last month, the annual pace was 2.9%. What's more important in this next paragraph is the January data underscores that the uneven nature of central banks' battle against high inflation. Inflation has subsided drastically since cresting just above 9% in 2022, but the progress in recent months has been a bit more sporadic. Grocery prices climbed 0.5% compared with the previous month, or 1.9% on a yearly basis. That was driven in large part by the nationwide egg shortage caused by an outbreak of avian influenza and or bird flu, which has pushed prices up 15.2% over the past 4 weeks. Since last year, egg prices rose up 53%. Gasoline prices also rose another 1.8% over the course of the month, although they are down 0.2% compared to the same time last year. And some of this, it says that Republicans are quick to cast blame on the Biden administration. He also lauded Trump, this Republican who cast blame, that said he's taking the necessary action to lower costs, which is not true whatsoever. So I just wanted to point out to folks that, and I do think some of this is Trump's overt policies or initial policies, and or the lack of doing anything. And then again, part of the accusation against Biden was that he did not act fast enough to stem inflation. I think Trump's policies that on tariffs will do similar damage in effect by raising the cost of goods in the United States, again, causing a jump in inflation. And so I think that is a good barometer of where and or what's going to be happening in terms of the destabilization, again, internally of the country. And some of that for Trump's minions, they won't blame Trump, although some of the more liberal, conservative, or moderate elements will. But the hardcore folks will blame Black people, immigrants, LGBTQ community. That's part of also what this dilemma or what's happening will do. But I think it's important to watch what's going to happen with the economy, and as Trump's policies begin to destroy the U.S. economy even further and damage it even further. And again, not quite saying to be as somewhat of somewhat looking for the empire to take a fall. Some of that, of course, I'm not mad at, but of course, people will suffer because the economy under Trump may take a fall because of some of these tariffs that are being put in place, and by fall, higher inflation rates. So
yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the economic stuff. Kind of, I don't know. I'm having a hard time trying to decide on which dystopian nightmare I believe is going to happen first. If like the mass cannibalism is going to happen first, not like zombies. I don't think I don't think we're going to be dead. I think we're just going to be so damn broke and desperate that But in all seriousness, I do think that these tariff schemes against so-called allies, like this thing with Canada, man, these people are going to kiss that man's ring in about 6 days, if it takes that long. All this stuff about tariffs on American products. No, Trump is going to pull out his bully stick on Canada, and they're going to fall in line. Mexico might not be so, that they might be a little bit resistant, but I don't believe that a lot of these clearly capitalist, clearly also imperialist allies and vassals of the U.S. are really going to sever their relationship with this empire just because they don't like the way Trump is leading this empire. Because what he is doing, his policies, like you were just saying, Kamau, his policies are no different than the neoliberal austerity producing policies under Democrats. People were broke under Biden-Harris, but most people in this country didn't have $500 in the bank for emergencies under Biden-Harris, under Obama, under the first Trump. And this has been the reality for most people in this country for a long time. So, and in that entire period, the corporations, the bosses, they have not stopped making ever increasing profits. Like they have never had to not buy their avocado toast. You know, they get to buy as much coffee every day as they want because they're taking our money. Mm-hmm. So in all of this austerity for the people, the corporations that are multinational, Target is a multinational corporation, Amazon, Walmart, they have board members and major stockholders in countries all over the world. These people have not ceased to make a lot of money off of the austerity policies that we've been living under for decades. So these countries are not all of a sudden going to cut off the relationship with their golden goose, the United States. They're going to suck them tariffs up and they're going to come crawling right back to Donald Trump. And whatever they agree to in private, Trump is going to publicly say, just like he said about Colombia, and people believe it, I made them change their mind.
Well, speaking of sucking tariffs.
Whoa. I came at the wrong time.
Nope.
Oh, wait.
Yo, so this is the end of the show.
I do like what you said, Jackie, about I don't know which dystopian nightmare will take place first. I think we need to do like some kind of betting thing around the race war, the economic collapse.
Oh yeah, like the board.
Yeah, like external
on, Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, external war. Like what's going to cause the
viral outbreak?
Viral outbreak. The fires, more fires in California, environmental. Yeah. Oh yeah. This is.
We haven't gotten to the mutated animals. Because that's a possibility. Yeah, so, like them removing them. Remember, because I'm a horror movie fan. Remember the movie Them with the giant irradiated ants. Come on now, that can happen.
I remember that movie.
Oh wow, you're old. Hey, so you be back tomorrow, right, Jackie?
I think I will. I think so.
Okay, we can finish this discussion tomorrow because it's time to go.
What, you got something to do?
You got always got something to do. Yeah. So boom, we'll be back tomorrow with some more. Make sure y'all tune in. Tell a friend to be on again at 8 a.m. And have a great rest of your day and stay warm. All right. With that said, we out of here. Peace, party people. Let me get this right here. I'm just a little slow.